Welcome, coin lovers. The year was 1941. The world was on the edge of chaos as World War II raged overseas, and America was just months away from being drawn into the conflict. In this backdrop of uncertainty, a small 5-cent coin quietly made its way into the pockets of millions of Americans. At first glance, the 1941 Jefferson nickel may look like an ordinary piece of change, but in reality, this coin holds a story filled with history, artistry, scarcity, and surprising collector demand. Today, we're going to dive deep into the journey of this coin, and by the end of this video, you may look at this humble nickel with new eyes. Let's begin with the historical backdrop. In 1941, Franklin D. Roosevelt was President of the United States, and the nation was still recovering from the Great Depression while preparing for possibility of entering World War II. The Jefferson nickel, first introduced in 1938, was still a relatively new design. By 1941, the coin had already become a symbol of modern America, replacing the beloved Buffalo nickel. But what many people don't realize is that the 1941 edition was the last regular nickel before wartime changes would alter the composition forever. On the obverse of the 1941 nickel, we see a bold portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States and the author of the Declaration of Independence. Sculpted by artist Felix Schlag, Jefferson's profile faces left, with the word liberty and the date 1941 inscribed to his right. Above his head sits the motto, "In God We Trust." Schlag's design was carefully chosen in a national competition. Yet interestingly, he was required to modify it before final approval. What you see on the coin is not his original vision, but a revised version ordered by the Mint. Turning to the reverse, we encounter the stately image of Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia home. Schlag's depiction of the building is striking in its neoclassical simplicity. Above Monticello, we read E Pluribus Unum, while below it appears the name Monticello, the denomination 5 cents, and the proud declaration United States of America. Although the building looks simple, collectors often complain that the strike on these coins was weak, making details of the steps on Monticello blurry, a flaw that ironically increases interest among collectors today. Now, let's talk about composition. Unlike later wartime nickels, which replaced nickel with silver, the 1941 Jefferson nickel retained its original alloy, 75% copper and 25% nickel. This durable blend was resistant to wear, making the coin practical for daily circulation. However, just 1 year later in 1942, the U.S. Mint would begin experimenting with silver nickels to conserve nickel metal for the war effort. This makes the 1941 nickel historically significant. It was the last fully traditional nickel before America's entry into the war changed everything. When it comes to mint marks, the 1941 Jefferson nickel was struck at 3 U.S. mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Coins from Philadelphia carried no mint mark, while those from Denver bore a small D on the reverse, and San Francisco coins carried an S. These tiny letters, barely noticeable above Monticello, actually hold huge significance for collectors. Depending on where your coin was minted, its rarity and value can change dramatically. Speaking of rarity, let's look at the mintage numbers. The Philadelphia Mint produced a massive 203 million nickels in 1941, while Denver struck about 53 million, and San Francisco added around 43 million. In total, over 300 million nickels were released that year, which might sound like an enormous number. But here's the twist. Very few of these coins survive in high grades today. Millions were lost to circulation where melted down or simply tossed aside as pocket change, leaving pristine examples in surprisingly short supply. One of the most fascinating parts of coin collecting is discovering errors and varieties. The 1941 Jefferson nickel is no exception. Among the most famous varieties is a 1941 double die error, where the letters and numbers on the coin show doubling under magnification. Another collectible variety involves weak strikes, especially on the steps of Monticello. Full-step nickels, those with sharp, complete details, are particularly prized by collectors, and even a single example can fetch a premium. Now, let's dive into collector demand. The Jefferson nickel series may not always get the same attention as silver dollars or gold coins, but serious numismatists know that certain dates and conditions can be surprisingly valuable. The 1941 nickel is often sought after by beginners, since it's affordable in lower grades, but also has appeal for advanced collectors looking for high-quality strikes with full steps. This dual appeal has kept the coin in strong demand for decades. So, how much is a 1941 nickel worth today? In circulated condition, most examples are worth only around 10 to 25 cents, just a small premium above face value. But don't let that fool you. In uncirculated condition, the value jumps dramatically. A bright, lustrous mint state example can bring anywhere from $5 to $50, depending on grade and mint mark. And those rare full-step nickels? They can soar into the hundreds or even thousands of dollars at auction, proving once again that condition is everything in coin collecting. The emotional appeal of the 1941 nickel lies in its timing. It is not just a coin. It is a snapshot of America on the brink of war. This small piece of metal passed to the hands of soldiers, factory workers, and ordinary citizens preparing for uncertain times. Holding one today is like holding a piece of history, a silent witness to one of the most dramatic turning points of the 20th century. That's what makes coins like this so much more than money. They are living artifacts. As we wrap up this journey, remember that the 1941 Jefferson nickel carries far more than 5 cents of value. It embodies the artistry of Felix Schlag, the legacy of Thomas Jefferson, and the resilience of America in a time of change. Whether you're a seasoned collector or someone just starting out, the 1941 nickel offers a story worth holding on to. Next time you come across one, look closely. You might just be holding a small fortune, or, at the very least, a treasure of history. Thank you for watching. That was the story of the 1941 Jefferson nickel, a coin full of history, design, and hidden value. Stay tuned for more amazing journeys into the world of coin collecting. Until next time, keep the passion for coins alive.